5, 4.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am here with Chairman David Austin. He's running for re-election. How far off are we from that date now?
I think we're 8 days.
8 days, so it's getting close. I went on Paulding.com today, and we have some citizens that want to know some things. But I also did some research, and I went back to find the posts that people seem to have the most concern about, and also issues that they seem confused about. But I want you to share with everybody a little bit about your past. We probably covered these things 4 years ago, but there are some people that may not know what you did before you became chairman. Can you tell the folks a little bit about that?
Yes, Roy, thank you very much. Uh, my background is, of course, you've heard me say, I went to the University of West Georgia. Got a degree in marketing and management. Coming into the job market, I purchased a dry cleaners in Marietta, 1 hour Martinizing, and ran it for 8 years. I know how to make a row, and that's a small business. It's between 8 and 10 people to run a dry cleaners. I expanded that to 2 other pickup stations and ran that for 8 years. I would probably still be in the business had I been able to purchase the land and the building that my business was in. Since I wasn't able to do that, I sold my cleaners and then went into a sales position, and I spent 27 years in that business. So I have met a small business payroll. And I've also worked in corporate America, where most of the background I got in college with accounting and management came in handy. I met budgets the size of our county budget. And this was an office equipment business. It was a time when Xerox was losing part of the marketplace, and I represented Canon, Minolta, and other products in the copy machine industry. I've owned other small businesses along with that. I've owned a pine bark business, a drapery cleaning, carpet cleaning business, all separate businesses. And before coming into office, I was owner of an ATM company.
Okay.
So, we had 15 employees. It wasn't a very large company, but
Right.
we put ATMs all over the Southeast.
Okay. That seems like you've done a little bit jack of all trades there. And I think people need to understand, what you bring to the table as a chairman, and basically you manage this county.
Right.
For the most part, the head of all the departments, the buck stops with you.
Right.
So we're going to talk about you taking office 4 years ago, and we know already that we were in a recession. We're pretty deep in the recession 4 years ago, I think. Pretty deep into it, and you took office, and what happened? I mean, I don't know if I should share with everybody, but David basically, for most of us in the press, disappeared for 6 months. You didn't see him, and you didn't hear him for the first 6 months, and now I understand what happens is that he's got all these multiple departments that have to bring him up to speed during that time. So tell me what you find, David.
Well, when I first went in, I operated the county both as a CEO, and I was the county administrator. So I took a couple of months before I hired a county administrator, realizing what I felt like a county administrator ought to do. But I found the budget very deep in debt. I had to actually raise millage sum to pay our bonds for our building. I found a building that wasn't bonded, and so that's cost extra money. But digging through the budget, you have to look and say, where can you cut departments? So we started cutting out levels of government first. We had a public safety director. He had resigned prior to my coming in office, so we were able to cut that whole level out. We've since had to do away with stormwater. We've had to put animal control under the marshal's office. So it's a lot of combination of services. I saw right away we had capable people that do great jobs. So I made our fire chief the emergency manager. I made the assisting 911 director the director of 911. So the other part of my management style is to hire very competent people and then let them do their job.
Okay.
I don't try to micromanage them.
Very good, very good. So we know that they're, the most painful thing when it comes to budget cuts, and it's true in corporate America, it's true in small business, and in Georgia, where you have to have a balanced budget, sometimes it comes down to cuts.
It does. And, that's the hardest part for me of my job as a CEO is you have to make those decisions. And when you have to lay off 70 people, you're doing so because you have to. You could do a reverse of that, and you could raise taxes. And I chose not to do that. I chose to tighten the belt. And so, unfortunately, some people lost their jobs. And I am so sorry about that.
That is, we can't continue to go into debt, and we know that people just, you can't put that extra strain on them. I wouldn't think of raising their taxes. So I want to talk about the airport. Airport is, I don't know, Paulding.com, it's the never-ending issue. If you're talking negatively about Paulding County government, it's the airport. We'll never forgive the airport. We want to see it turned into a racetrack and all kinds of crazy things about that. But when I do look at the problem, we know that the people of the county didn't want it. I mean, that's just as clear as can be. You had nothing whatsoever to do with that airport coming here. And I think that the thing that I've seen with the concern of people is that they know we can't let it go, or intelligent people know that's ridiculous. So, but what they don't know and what they're unsure of is how big will that airport get? And I think that's the question. We have Cartersville, Phoenix up there. I would think of that as a small airport, but I do believe that they kind of break even. They put in a new hangar, that kind of thing. And then the other end of the spectrum, when we talk about small airports, McCollum would probably be a small airport that is maxed out in the category of McCollum, of small airports. So where do you see our airport in the future? Where's it going?
What I told people, and of course we voted on this in '99, and we voted not to have one.
Yes, we did.
And one of the reasons I probably won in '08 was for that very reason. The other thing is that you have an airport. It's a $50 million airport. You have the federal government put that much money into it. You have Governor Perdue, once I came into office, gave us $3 million to build a terminal building. So you actually have a place to operate. You have pilots that can come into a pilot's lounge, and then begin to look at the business aspects of this airport. As we grow the airport, there is a box hangar that's being built as we speak. There's already a company from Michigan planning to move here, ADI. So you'll have a lot more corporate jets, which bring in your part of your tax base. That changes your tax base quite a bit. What I looked at in focusing on business and my background and my degree is how do you change the base here to move it from a bedroom community where most everybody, property owners and homeowners, pay the balance of your tax bill.
Yeah.
I wanted to see a balance of that so that we had commercial and industrial that paid their fair share and take part of this burden off the homeowner and the property owner. So my focus for the airport is to bring in business there, which is the box hangar. We'll do that. And then to focus on other related aircraft manufacturers and things of that sort to bring in businesses that can help change our tax base. Also adjoining the airport is land that we can build a industrial park. And part of the focus on looking at the industrial park today, when you offer water, sewer, electric, gas, all that's a given. Through the Northwest Georgia Regional Commission, probably Paulding's part would be $7 million of a backbone for fiber, which helps you bring national and international companies to Paulding because they can do business. They expect to be able to do business and have that kind of backbone. So being in Northwest Georgia, agreeing to go for the grant, and then seeing Paulding County receive at least $7 million of the $20 million grant is phenomenal.
So what you're saying is you're going to continue to support and invest until that airport is in the black and that the people get the return of their money spent there?
And that will be sooner than later. As we're looking at, we'll be in Oshkosh, Wisconsin tomorrow at an air show. It'll be the second year we've been there with Georgia Economic Development. When you look at the things that we brought to Paulding County, it's not just about what we look at, but it's the state of Georgia offers you a lot of guidance with economic development. And with us having the new Wellstar Hospital, us having the new film studio, is something they're focusing on. And now this past Friday, announcing Enroll coming to Paulding County
Right,
and bringing 60 new
right.
jobs. It has other companies look at us and say, what's going on in Paulding County? They want to be a part of this success.
Right. So I know this is, we're starting to hear some things, and I don't think that the general public really understands where a movie studio came out of. I mean, for me even, this was really out of left field for the public. Movie studio, I mean, people in Paulding never thought about one, and all of a sudden here's this talk, we're going to build it, and boom, it's here. Can you explain to people why a movie studio?
Well, we haven't put a dime of Paulding County money into the studio. The Industrial Building Authority offered some bonding to buy an existing building for something like 10 cents on the dollar,
Yes.
and to build a state-of-the-art film studio. Well, the state of Georgia offers you a lot of guidance in this area. So it's not David Austin, it's not just the Board of Commissioners, but it's the state of Georgia offering film and entertainment tax credits. And then they have a whole film and entertainment industry. When you start looking at what would the payback be, what's the time frame this could be successful, and looking at a performer, it's not just us looking at it, but a whole
Sure.
industry for the state of Georgia looks at from the film and entertainment industry. And again, this would be a film studio built above I-20, the only one above Interstate I-20. So it got a lot of good feedback from the state of Georgia, from the governor's office, from film and entertainment industry. So looking at the performer that we're looking at, it's kind of a no-brainer for me to take advantage of those film and entertainment tax credits. And then a blockbuster movie was just filmed in our studio, and over a period of several months, more than 700 people were employed in that film studio. And you look at, well, why is that economic development? It's from a lot of different areas. It brings in tourism, and then also the people that built the studio. We had a grader that was local. We had a local builder that was in charge of the overall building of the building. We had a local company that won the interior of that building. And there's a local guy now that manages it. So they're all Paulding residents. They got to take advantage of something being built here, and they got paid to build it.
So this decision was based mainly on the fact that tax credits for anybody that wants to come here and make movies, plus a state-of-the-art studio, that's what the movie makers are looking for. That's where they were going to go. That was the feedback.
Exactly. They're moving out of Hollywood. They're moving out of New York. They're moving out of other areas, and it all becomes about how they can make money. And the film and entertainment tax credits. We even talked to the governor's office, and the governor himself encouraged us to move forward with this endeavor. So it's something I think will be around for a long time. And you know, when you look at success breeds success.
Yes.
With the hospital, the film and entertainment, and now with Panettone building the Commerce Park, and Enroll being our first client there, it is really exciting about where we go for the future.
Yeah, because I had talked to Jamie about Panettone, and that certain companies, international companies, aren't interested unless that's basically who's building there, because the building itself is a huge investment for a company that wants to stay there long term, and they tend to not invest with companies that aren't reputable that develop these areas. Am I right?
Correct. And you know, if you look at what brings them to Paulding County, we worked on an opportunity zone. I worked with the mayor for a year and a half to bring an opportunity zone to Paulding and Dallas. It follows a census tract. It's payroll incentives, and it's the incentives that bring the industry. So it's not only abatement, but it's also in the tax incentives that are offered through the opportunity zone through the state of Georgia.
And I understand that with it being, um, where was it, 5 employees to get the tax credits?
You have to employ 2 or more,
Okay.
new or existing. This can be a barbershop, it can be a yogurt shop, it can be manufacturing, it can be high tech, but it's offered to all. And that's the thing that I like most, being a small business owner, is to be able to take advantage of some of those tax credits.
Sure, and when you're looking at a small business that would like to grow, and the way you grow is basically with people, and they are getting the breaks on their payroll. That is what they need most, really, to grow, isn't it?
That's one area it could be used. It could be, first of all, used against Georgia corporate income tax. If they don't pay that, then it can
Right.
be used against their payroll taxes.
So
But it's those kind of incentives that the governor's put out there. And again, the opportunity zone's been around for 10 years.
yes,
It's just, we haven't applied for it. And when we found out that this was available to us, we could fight the tier community, which is something the legislature set up and probably be unsuccessful, or spend a year and a half going for opportunity zone. And what opportunity zone does too is for redevelopment. So it's development and redevelopment.
yeah, and I think that's great because small businesses don't usually get much help in that way. So we are going to talk about abatements and how big though. We know that they're pretty good right now for our companies, and it seems that the emphasis is more on a payroll rather than trying to get more money in the county coffers, which we also know we need that. We need that influx of tax money for all of the services. So will we continue to offer these types of abatements from now on out, or is this just something to get us started?
Well, I'll say it all depends. It all depends on their payroll, the type of jobs they're going to do, what that payroll looks like. It's a balance. And the first thing you do is offer your very best abatement to your anchor tenant.
Right.
An internationally known company in the roller business, the largest in the world. And so the next people that come, you don't have to offer that same incentive,
Right.
because you've already got your anchor tenant. They want to be a part of that business success.
And there's time limits on abatements, and we also, from what I understand, they have to meet the criteria, right?
Exactly.
If they decide that, well, I don't want to hire that many people, then they do lose some of that abatement, do they
They do.
not?
That's right.
Okay. I wanted people to know that what the rate of exchange is on abatement to the people in the county. So, now we've got some of the tough questions from the people on Paulding.com. Those are my questions. I think one of the biggest ones was they wanted to know if the Sunday sales law, allowing Sunday sales in the county, will be on the ballot in November.
Well, you know, I've heard people bring this up to me, and why City of Hiram? We had your municipal elections last year, so that
Okay.
was the first chance we had for the cities to
Yes.
put that on their ballot. Then the next question is, when do you put it on the ballot for the county to look at? The Board of Commissioners, the majority of them will have to decide if they want to do that, and I believe they will. And I think we ought to put it to the voters, and I think it ought to be what I think is our largest base to vote in the November general election.
So, are you saying that you will agree to having it put on the ballot?
I will.
Okay.
And, you know, again, 2 other commissioners have to agree with me
Okay.
that the people ought to have a chance to vote on this.
Very good. Okay. We had some conversation about people feel like the county government is not doing enough to enforce the laws as far as keeping your property well maintained without trash, without weeds. They feel like, especially as you go down some of our busier streets, that you're seeing a lot of homes, some bank owned, that just are not kept in good order and really could receive a citation. So they wanted to know, why aren't we enforcing those things to keep the appearance of our county better?
Well, I'm all about changing the appearances. You know, we passed a new sign ordinance.
Right.
You're starting to see kiosks go up all over the county. You'll start to see unsightly signs and stuff removed here in the near future. And what you have to remember is we have a marshal's department, and there's only 5 people in that department.
Okay.
They're alcohol licensing. They're all about general ordinance control. And they now have animal control that comes under them. So very often we have gone out and cleaned up
Right.
bad places, but that's a continuous thing that we're looking at. And I think so far they've done a great job, but we have more to do.
Well, basically, what you're saying is the county has no problems that more money won't fix.
Well, exactly, and you know, you got a marshal's department too that's aggressively, as I see and know about areas, or they
Yeah.
find them, then we will make that change.
Okay.
And we don't go lighter on areas that are bank owned. In fact, they probably pay harder because you're not displacing people, you're not making it harder on them. They may not own a lawnmower, they may not have some of those things. Banks do.
Yeah.
So we're probably harder on that group.
So we also have just a volume problem. It's
Exactly.
just more than we can get around to.
It's more than we can change overnight, but we are headed in the right direction.
Good, good. Okay, this one was a little bit tougher. The budget calls for an increase in the fire and rescue millage from 2 mills to 3.1 mills because the fire tax isn't generating enough money. So they wanted to know, are you going to guarantee that that they will roll that back once the property values increase in the future?
Guarantee is a very tough word, but I said from the very beginning, that was my pledge. We've had to suffer through a lot of downturn in this economy. County employees with furlough days and those type of things. So trying to restore part of that. But, you know, as we make our recovery, you can see the Board of Commissioners under my leadership agree to make that downturn in the millage rate as the property values increase. That's what we're hoping for.
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
think
your
we've hit the
record-
bottom
Yeah.
yet. But what I have done is cut your taxes, and I haven't raised your millage rate. It could easily have been done and say, well, this is what we had to do. But we've cut the budget. We cut until we've got into the bone marrow. So I hope we've stabilized, but I can just tell you, I think, you know, there's probably more cuts to happen.
Yeah, well, your record shows that you're not tax
Right.
happy. That's
Exactly.
for sure. Somebody, and this was something I wasn't aware of, so maybe you can help me. Why are the part-time county employees not getting the 2% cost of living increase? Honestly, I didn't think they'd had any in 4 years, so this one caught me off guard. You want to kind of catch us up
Well,
on
we're,
that?
we're hoping if the budget passes on August the 14th, to be able to institute some raises, which they haven't had in 4 years, and to do away with some furlough days, which we've had as many as 10. That means you don't get paid. That's me, that's the county administrators, everybody in the county, including the constitutional officers, take those furlough days, and they're not paid for that. So part-time employees are not the same as full-time employees.
Okay. And like we said, the money's not there unless
Exactly.
people want to see their millage go up. Okay, this is the very last question on here, and this is one of my questions, and I think it probably answers everything that we've looked at today, and that is 4 more years. What does Paulding County look like? Because I think if you set goals, then you always are going in the right direction. So I'm assuming that you do have goals for the county. What are those goals, and what does the county look like 4 years from now?
Well, the great thing about having goals is having partners to attain those goals. You have an economic development group with Jamie Gilbert as the economic director that have the same, sharing the same success to take the balance of our tax base and change it over to commercial and industrial and at least get it 50-50.
Yeah.
And that's what we're working towards, to bring businesses in that can do that. And then you have your Chamber of Commerce as your other great partner. And then you have Chattahoochee Tech and Georgia Highlands and Kennesaw College. They all have the same goals, so that when you're training towards healthcare, aviation, and film and entertainment, both through a college degree or through Chattahoochee Tech. So when we look at how this thing will change, what I'm hoping is the 75% of people that now leave the county every day to go to a job base, we change that very drastically and keep our people at home and keep that base that when they're out going to a job center, they're spending their money somewhere else. So it changes your whole tax base very, very drastic.
Very good. I like the goals. I've always been, I'm pro economic development, being a small business owner here for 15 years. So I'm trying to get the public to understand how this eventually plays into more tax, into not raising taxes. What we will have is a larger tax base.
A diversity there in your tax base. And it's all about partnering with great folks,
Right.
national and international. It's about having a relationship with your governor. You haven't mentioned the reservoir, but the governor's number 1 or 2 project on the reservoir list is our reservoir. It's great, having a relationship with our congressmen and our senators, so that when you call, they know who you are,
Yeah.
and they know what your needs are. And we've been up to see them. We've been to visit them. They know Paulding County very, very well.
That's great. I mean, that reservoir, I, like many people in the county, didn't realize that the project had gone on a shelf. And
Yeah.
you did come back and take that off the shelf, did you not?
Right, and we've got it ready now for the Corps of Engineers to give us approval. So we're very excited about having that this fall.
So approval and then money and then it gets done just like
Right,
that?
right.
That'll be fantastic. I know, David, that anytime I picked up the phone or sent you an email that you've been available to me, I would think that it's still the same, that you'll always be available.
My
and
door's
listen to
always
people.
open, and I ask people, but before you start talking about me, talk to me. Ask me a question, and if I can't answer that, or I can't be of any help to you, or one of your other Board of Commissioners, then we'll find you some help. The other thing I'd like to say, if you would, go on electaustin.com, and you'll have more information. And, some more interviews and stuff are on that website.
Okay.
So I invite you to go there.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in and getting to know a little bit more about your chairman and where we're headed. And I guess you wanted to ask the people one important question.
I ask you for your vote. You can early vote now, and you can vote on Tuesday. So thank you very much for your confidence you've had in me. I plan to continue to lead and have the goals that I've planned out in the past for the future. And Paulding County is in my heart and soul. And so I ask you for your vote on July the 31st.